He was someone who had a powerful desire to change life for the
He
better.
loved working with the community college system.
Really had a passion for equity and diversity.
It doesn't matter where you came from, it matters where you're going. He knew that education gave you a chance to be somebody that you would otherwise never be.
You know we've got to find a way to bring some loving here today. Yeah.
Father, Father, we don't need to escalate.
You see, war is not the answer, for only love can conquer hate.
You know we've got to find a way to bring some love in here today. Yeah.
Picket lines,
Sister,
picket signs,
sister,
don't punish me,
sister,
with brutality,
sister, talk to me, sister, so you can see, sister, what's going on,
What's going on?
what's going on,
What's going on?
what's going on,
What's going on?
what's going on,
What's going on? Mother, mother, everybody thinks we're wrong.
Who are they to judge us simply 'cause our hair is long? Oh, you know we've got to find a way to bring some love in here today. Yeah,
picket signs,
brother,
and picket lines,
brother,
don't punish me,
brother,
brutality,
brother, talk to me, brother, so you can see, brother, oh, what's going on,
What's going on?
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 Many nights we've prayed with no proof anyone could hear. In our hearts, a hopeful song we barely understood. Now we are not afraid, although we know there's much to fear. We were moving mountains long before we knew we could. There can be miracles when you believe. Though hope is frail, it's hard to kill. Who knows what miracles you can achieve when you believe, somehow you will. You will when you believe. In this time of fear, when prayer so often proves in vain, hope seems like a summer bird too swiftly flown away. But now I'm standing here, my heart so full I can't explain, seeking faith and speaking words I never thought I'd say. There can be miracles when you believe. Though hope is frail, it's hard to kill. Who knows what miracles you can achieve when you believe, somehow you will. You will when you believe. They don't always happen when you ask. And it's easy to give in to your fears. But when you're blinded by your pain, can't see your way clear through the rain, hope's still resilient voice says love is very near. Oh, there can be miracles when you believe. Though hope is frail, it's hard to kill. Who knows what miracles you can achieve when you believe? Somehow you will. You will. You will when you believe. You will when you believe.
At last, my love has come along. My lonely days are over, and life is like a song. Oh yeah, at last, the sky above us blue. My heart was wrapped up in clover. The night I looked at you, I found a dream that I could speak to, a dream that I can call my own. I found a thrill to rest my cheek to, a thrill that I have never known. But you smiled, and then the spell was cast. But now here we are in heaven, for you are mine at last.
To dream the impossible dream, to fight the unbeatable foe, to bear with unbearable sorrow, to run where the brave dare not go, to right the unrightable wrong, to love pure and chaste from afar, to try when your arms are too weary, to reach the unreachable star. This is my quest, to follow that star, no matter how hopeless, no matter how far, to fight for the right without question or pause, to be willing to march into hell for a heavenly cause. And I know if I'll only be true to this glorious quest, that my heart will lie peaceful and calm when I'm laid to my rest. And the world will be better for this, that one man, scorned and covered with scars, still strove with his last ounce of courage to reach the unreachable star.
Thank you, Natomas Charter School Vocal Ensemble and DC Quartet for providing entertainment during breakfast. I am Dr. Debbie Malumed. I'm the president of the Board of Governors for the California Community Colleges. I sincerely welcome you to this landmark 10th Annual Rice Award presentation. I am deeply honored that Mrs. Clara Rice and the Honorable Condoleezza Rice are again joining us as we present this very important award. Let's give them a round of applause for their dedication and commitment to the California Community Colleges. Also joining me on stage today is our Chancellor, Jack Scott, who works tirelessly on all of our behalf. I am going to ask the Natomas Charter School Vocal Ensemble to come back up for our Pledge of Allegiance and the Star-Spangled Banner. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free, and the home of the brave, home of the brave.
Thank you for that beautiful rendition. Now I would like to introduce Chancellor Jack Scott. Before I turn the microphone over to him, let me express our sincere appreciation of Chancellor Scott. He is doing an amazing job on behalf of all of us, and I can't think of a better person to serve at the helm of our 112 colleges as we navigate these very difficult times. Chancellor Scott has a wealth of knowledge. He's served 12 years in the state legislature and has served as president of 2 community colleges. Let's give him a round of applause and a warm welcome.
Well, I want to thank Dr. Malumed for those kind words and welcome all of you to this wonderful event. The venue is great. We've enjoyed the food and visiting with one another, and we have a wonderful view of the state capitol from here. So it's really a great event, and I particularly want to thank all of our board members. It's been my pleasure since taking this job on January 1st, 2009, to work with a superb Board of Governors. They work hard on behalf of the community college. It's a volunteer effort on their part, and sometimes I'm amazed at how they're able to accomplish so much and still maintain their regular job. For instance, Dr. Malumed, as you know, is a family physician. I guess she caught her cold in the line of duty. But we appreciate the leadership that she gives. I want to tell you that we are thrilled to celebrate the legacy of Dr. John Rice. He was someone who had a powerful desire to change life for the better. If you noticed some of the biographical details in our program, here was a man who was raised in the segregated South, an individual who took advantage of going off to college at a time when, of course, it was very difficult financially to do so. Was an ordained minister in the Presbyterian Church. Was in Birmingham, Alabama, when his daughter Condoleezza was born. And he wanted, when he came and began to serve us as one of the members of the Board of Governors, one of the passions that he had in life was the passion of diversity. You can imagine with his experience that he looked around and he wanted to see the United States, and particularly the California community colleges, become a place where we could serve all people. And we are the most democratic of all institutions of higher education in the United States. It's amazing what we're able to do. Sometime I often quote from The Tale of Two Cities and say that it is the best of times and it's the worst of times. It's the best of times in terms of the popularity of the community colleges. Last year, we served a record enrollment of 2.89 million students. And unfortunately, because of the state budget, we're having to turn away literally thousands of students this year. But we do the best job that we can. The 112 community colleges, the largest system of higher education in the United States, the place where someone who perhaps didn't do so well in high school now gets a second chance and often makes a very good chance out of that second chance. It's a place where people are coming in this time of unemployment, are coming to our place in order to receive retraining for jobs, and they go out and become productive. It's the place where someone who perhaps doesn't use the English language that well suddenly can come and take our courses in English as a second language. It's just a great place of diversity. And we deeply appreciate the legacy that Dr. Rice left behind when he spoke up constantly in meetings on behalf of that diversity. In fact, our student body pretty much mirrors the state's demographics. Latinos represent roughly 38% of our state population and 33% of our enrollment. African Americans represent 6% of our state population, yet they're nearly 9% of our student body. And we not only know that Dr. Rice wanted to see diversity in our student body, but he was also vitally interested in seeing diversity in our faculty and in our staff and in our administration. And certainly we're working toward that goal, and we deeply appreciate the accomplishments that he made in that respect. So this is really a joyous occasion to celebrate community colleges, to celebrate a pioneer like Dr. John Rice, who spoke up, whose own life experience enriched his to allow him in turn to become a voice for diversity in our community colleges, and we want to live up to that legacy. You know, it's a hackneyed phrase, but it has a lot of meaning when it's often said that behind any man who is accomplishing anything, there's often a brilliant and a very helpful woman. And that was certainly true with Dr. John Rice in his service on the Board of Governors. No one could have been more devoted than Clara Rice in supporting her husband. They met and married here in California when he moved out here as a result of the urging of his daughter, and she had been a school principal, and they formed a wonderful union, and she often came with him to the board meetings. She supported him in all the great work that he did. So this year marks the 10th anniversary of this award, and you know, Clara has never missed a single celebration of this. So I would like to introduce Clara Rice to you now, and I would like to give her this crystal as an appreciation.
Thank you, and good morning. I should know by now that every year I have to say a few words, and I hadn't thought of anything to say while I was eating breakfast. But anyway, this is such a great honor and a privilege to come each year to celebrate the memory of my husband in such a worthwhile cause. And I would like to congratulate the recipients this year, Taft College and Camino College, which Elaine Moore is the founder here. So I would just like to congratulate these two recipients. My husband, as Mr. Scott said, really had a passion for equity and diversity. Coming from the South, from Birmingham, Alabama, and by the way, I was also born and raised in Birmingham, Alabama, but I didn't meet John until he came to California. And by me being in education, and he had such a passion for diversity and equity in the school system, automatically we clicked right off and enjoyed 11 years of marriage before he died. I really miss John. This gives me an opportunity to reflect on all the work that he has done for the community colleges on the board. And I just want to thank everyone who put this together. I especially want to thank Tosh, who always keep in touch with me throughout the year. And I just look forward to this every year. So this is all I have to say. I'll turn it over to my stepdaughter, Condoleezza, who will have much, much more to say. Thank you.
Well, as Clara Rice has just said, we're going to have the honor of hearing from Dr. Condoleezza Rice this morning. And of course, I know that all of us know who she is. She is not a person that's unknown because of her tremendous work and what she has done. I shared with her this morning something that she didn't know, and that was as a subscriber to Time Magazine, the lead article was on the only child myth, and it was pointing out the accomplishments of individuals who were only children. And it mentioned, it had about 6 pictures, you know, FDR, it had Frank Sinatra, and it had Condoleezza Rice as one of those who had proven the fact that only children are not someone who simply is spoiled or something of that nature, but they're individuals of great accomplishment. Well, she is a person of great accomplishment. I knew of Condoleezza Rice before she became Secretary of State and became so prominent in the government because as an educator, I had a great deal of admiration for her when she was provost of Stanford University. Condoleezza Rice was the youngest provost of Stanford University and served in that job with great distinction. And then she was called, of course, to the Capitol in order to serve in her many roles that she had there in Washington. She traveled around the world. She was certainly involved, I know, in the negotiations in the Middle East, which of course are some of the most difficult. She was first the U.S. National Security Advisor, and then she became the Secretary of State. She was the first African-American woman to serve in that role, the second African-American, and the second woman to serve as Secretary of State. That came after a long line of male predecessors. And so she's really a trailblazer, someone who, as was pointed out, was born in Birmingham, Alabama, proved her tremendous accomplishments through the years. Maybe some of you don't know that she is a very accomplished pianist. I understand you're going to be playing for Aretha Franklin in a concert in the future. So she's a sports enthusiast as well. She's a tremendously accomplished individual, and she honors us. She and Clara Rice both honor us with their presence here in honor of her father, Dr. John Rice. And we have a nice...
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Well, I'd like to thank you, Chancellor Jack Scott, for not only that wonderful introduction, but for your leadership of the community college system at what I know is a difficult and trying time. It takes in trying times someone who can remain optimistic about the prospects, and I know you as an optimist, and I know that you will continue to lead well. I want to thank you, Debbie, for the presidency of the Board of Governors and for the hard work that you do. We had a chance to meet last year and to talk. And even though you have a cold, which is I'm sure you did get from one of your wonderful patients, it is great for you to be here, and we greatly appreciate your leadership of the Board of Governors. I also want to thank Jack O'Connell, the state superintendent. There is no more important and rewarding, yet perhaps more challenging work than trying to make our educational system what it should be to continue to deliver on the American dream. And that's where I'd like to start my remarks today. My father is being honored, and I am so grateful to the community college system for continuing to honor his memory and what he stood for. I also want to say that people like Tosh and Gus, he loved you. You were like family to him, and you kept him active in the community college system and the Board of Governors when his infirmities sometimes made it difficult for him to make a meeting in Sacramento. You somehow, along with Clara, found a way to get him here because it was extremely important to him. He loved working with the community college system. I've been, over the last year or so, writing a book about my parents and my grandparents. It's now done. It's going to be out in October. It's called Extraordinary Ordinary People. And I wanted to write that book first because very often people say to me, well, what is responsible for who you became? And I always say, in order to know how I came to be who I am, you had to know John and Angelina Rice, and in order to know them, you had to know Albert and Mattie Ray on my mother's side, and especially on my father's side, you had to know Teresa Rice and particularly John Wesley Rice Sr., my grandfather, my paternal grandfather. And my father's passion for education comes directly through that line. I've had the chance to go back and interview people who were students of my father, who worked with my father, and they all say the same thing. He had this tremendous passion for the transforming power of education. He knew that education gave you a chance to be somebody that you would otherwise never be. And that passion, I learned and understood, came directly from my grandfather. Now, my grandfather died on September the 14th, 1954. I was born on November the 14th, 1954. So I never knew him in the flesh, but I knew him in the spirit, and I knew him and continue to know him in spirit. His story is one that is so, in many ways, American. My grandfather was a sharecropper's son in Utah. That would be E-U-T-A-W. I'm not kidding, Alabama. And he decided at some point when he was about 18 or so years old that he needed to get book learning. And I've told this story many times. He asked people who would come through how a colored man could go to college, and they said, well, you could go to Little Stillman College. It's about 30, 40 miles from here. It's a little Presbyterian school, and they educate colored men. So he went off to Stillman College with cotton to pay his way through college. And he got there, he finished his first year, and then they said to him, well, how are you going to pay for his second year? And he said, well, I'm out of cotton. And they said, well, you're out of luck. And he said, well, how are those boys going to college? And they said, well, they have what's called a scholarship. And if you wanted to be a Presbyterian minister, then you could have a scholarship too. And my grandfather said, that's exactly what I had in mind. And my family has been college educated and Presbyterian ever since. But you see, John Wesley Rice Sr. understood that that college education was going to make him somebody that he'd otherwise never be. And he passed it on. He passed it on to my father, who then managed to get a college education and went to seminary and became a Presbyterian minister. And he passed it on to his daughter, Teresa, my father's sister, who went to college and then went to the University of Wisconsin, becoming one of the first women to get a PhD in Victorian literature. She wrote books on Dickens, of all things. And so that college education was just transforming. Now that made my father a passionate believer that everybody ought to have that chance. Anybody who was willing to work hard, anybody who was willing to take the chance ought to have that chance. And that was the passion and that was the dedication that you saw every day in him, and that you saw from the time that he started as a high school guidance counselor and athletic director and football coach, all the way up through the youth fellowship programs that he founded at his church, through dean of students at Stillman College, assistant dean at Denver University, associate vice chancellor at University of Denver, and then after my mother's death, retiring here in California and joining the board of governors of the community college system when Pete Wilson appointed him. That was the dedication that he showed when, in marrying Clara, who was then a school principal in the Ravenswood School District, he started together with me something called, and with Clara, the Center for a New Generation, which was just to give kids who might not other have an opportunity to learn to do instrumental music or vocal music like our wonderful performers today, that those kids would have a chance to have an enriching educational experience. That was then the passion that he brought to the Community College Board of Governors. But he brought something else. He believed, too, that that experience, in order to really fulfill America's promise, had to be one that was for the most diverse population in the world, which is the American population. You know, as the Secretary of State, I got to travel around the world. I got to represent this great country, which I love so much, and I choke up every time we say the Pledge of Allegiance, every time we sing the national anthem, because there's no place like the United States of America. And I got to see what people thought of us, what they loved about us, what they didn't like so much about us. You know, sometimes they feared a bit or maybe even resented our military power, though those men and women who are serving in uniform and volunteering to defend us on the front lines of freedom are among the bravest and most remarkable human beings ever on God's earth. And sometimes people worried about our economic penetration or our cultural penetration. But you know, the one thing that was always, always admired about America was the great national myth that we have. And a myth isn't something that's not true, it's just something a little outsized in your thinking. And that great national myth was, you can come from humble circumstances and you can do great things. It was the log cabin. It doesn't matter where you came from, it matters where you're going. And we all know that the key to that in a great multi-ethnic democracy like America is education. Because I can go out into this audience and I can find people with Mexican American names, with Asian American names, with Indian American names, with German American names, but we're all just American. It's not blood that ties us together. It's not ethnicity that ties us together. It's certainly not religion. We're Muslim, and we're Jewish, and we're Presbyterian, and we're Catholic, and some of us are nothing at all, and we're still Americans. So it's none of that that ties us together. It's this great belief that you can come from humble circumstances, you can do great things. It doesn't matter where you came from, it matters where you're going. And it's what's brought people here for generations to be a part of this great experiment. And it really, frankly, doesn't matter if it's the guy who crawled across the desert to make $5, not 50 cents, a Sergey Brin who came here as a child from Russia and founded Google. That's what unites us as Americans. And so my father understood that that American torch, that American national myth, only meant something if education was available to the most diverse people. And so today I am so proud to be here to honor his memory, but also to honor the work of our award recipients, because you honor people's memory by continuing their work. And the work that Elaine Moore is doing as the founder of Project Success at El Camino College fits right in that channel of what John W. Rice Jr. believed so strongly. And the work of the Transition to Independent Living program at Taft College and President Duncan, who will accept the award. Diversity comes in many forms. It comes in diversity of ethnicity and diversity of gender and diversity of religion, but it also comes in diversity of challenges and diversity of experiences with those challenges. And so what Taft College is doing is remarkable in this transitional program, transitional living program. So thank you very much for having me here. Thank you for allowing me to reflect a little bit on the memory of my father and all that he stood for. But thank you especially for continuing his work and his dream through the community college system, that one day anybody who wants to grab on to that transforming power of education can do so, and in doing so will enrich not just themselves, but the United States of America and our world. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Rice. You know, all of us who are in education, when we hear a speech like that, we are renewed once again to our calling. We understand how important education is, how empowering it is, and what a difference it makes in people's lives. And we can say it, but the thing that really makes us realize it is stories like you told. And I can't wait to read your book about those extraordinary people who made such a difference in your life. And I know that your father was extremely proud of your accomplishments, and certainly we appreciate everything that you do. So thank you for coming to be with us, Condoleezza Rice. Well, I want to talk a little bit about the Rice Award because, as was pointed out in Condoleezza Rice's speech, the way to continue someone's legacy is not merely to praise one's past, but is to do something in the present. And we're doing something today in the present because we have two outstanding awardees. This award was established 10 years ago after Dr. Rice had passed away. And we have two great programs today. The first award goes to the Transition for Independent Living program at Taft College. Now, I've heard about that program for quite a time. Someone told me that in dealing with individuals who have intellectual disabilities, that this is the best program in the state. It is the only program that is actually a residential program of this nature. You see, Taft is not a very large college. It's outside of Bakersfield with about 7,000 students. But it exemplifies the ideals of equity and diversity. because diversity, as was pointed out, we often think of it in terms of ethnic diversity, but it involves diversity of age, diversity involving disabilities, and this one has to do with those who are generally born with some form of mental disability. The Transition to Independent Living program has gained national and international recognition because of the successful outcomes, and I want you to listen to these statistics. 89% of the students who complete this 2-year program, 95% of them are then able to live independently, and 89% are employed. Now, when you think of the change that occurs in an individual's life, that's remarkable. But let's just think about the economics of it. To think about taking someone who is dependent upon tax resources and then changing and transforming that person who now becomes independent and is a taxpayer. I've often said education is not a cost, it's an investment. And certainly the program at Taft College is a wonderful investment. So I'm going to ask President William Duncan, I call him Willie, and that's, I think, what he likes to be called. Come on up to the podium with your delegation to receive this award.
Thank you very much. Toaster told me that would be heavy, and he's right. It's very heavy. Well, thank you very much. On behalf of the Board of Trustees of the West Kern Community College District, I'd like to thank the Board of Governors, Chancellor Scott, and the Rice family for inviting us here today to receive the Dr. John W. Rice Award given to the Taft College Transition to Independent Living program. Before I begin my remarks and say a few things about the program, I would like to introduce those in the program that came with me today. So if I could please, I'll say your name if you could stand and be recognized. Jeff Ross, who is the Director of the Student Support Services at Taft College and also the creator of the TIL program. Sandy Popejoy, who is the Director of the TIL program. Kathy Everts, who's the intake coordinator of the TIL program. And before Kathy gets away, she's going to kill me for this, but I've got to say, Kathy is getting ready to retire in the next month. And she spent 23 years at Taft College, 15 years working for the TIL program with Jeff, and Jeff credits her with the idea for the creation of the TIL program. So Kathy. I don't know how Jeff's going to survive without her. I'd like to introduce the students that came with us today. TIL graduates, Chelsea Chambly. Chelsea. Chris Cook. Chris. Lewis Weaver. Amy Lewis. There's Amy. Current students, Catherine Myers. Sarah Bradford. And Greg Patton. There's Greg. Two additional students who are also graduates who you're going to hear from today. And if I could ask them to come and please stand up on the stage next to me and you'll speak after me. Krista Harless. And Noelle Baldoff. I never did get the chance to meet Dr. Rice, but I did read a little bit about him. And I know that as an educator, he worked tirelessly to ensure that students from all diverse backgrounds would be given an equal opportunity to education. Programs such as the Taft College Transition to Independent Living program are the embodiment of this ideal. The TIL program, as we call it, is the only 2-year residential program that provides life and vocational skills to individuals with developmental disabilities in the state. The program has been in existence for 15 years, and we've tracked the outcomes of our students since its inception. 95% of our graduates are living independently, and 89% are competitively employed. These rates are more than triple the national averages for individuals with developmental disabilities. So there's something special to the program. And you see, the program is really about opportunity, as Chancellor Scott mentioned. Our students just need the opportunity to prove that they can do the work necessary to succeed in the world. And we look at it really as economic development, as we provide an opportunity for those students to help support themselves and become productive members of society. As part of our commitment to provide educational opportunities to all students, the TIL program takes students from all over California. We have a diverse population in the program. We follow a model of inclusion in which students in the TIL program are encouraged to work and socialize with traditional students on and off campus. The program also provides an opportunity for students without disabilities to work in the program. As a result, we've also developed the first direct support education degree in the nation, in which students are trained to work in educational programs for those with developmental disabilities. The program has received both national and international recognition, as Chancellor Scott mentioned to you. Just before his passing, Taft College worked with Senator Ted Kennedy to develop legislation to provide model demonstration grants to colleges and universities to develop more programs like the TIL program. Those programs and grants are just now being put out on the street and will become a reality this year. Additionally, educators from Korea have visited the program several times and are using it as a model for the programs that they are developing in their country. A one-of-a-kind program, we believe, should have a one-of-a-kind facility. And to that end, we have finalized plans and are about to begin construction on a new 25,000 square foot facility, complete with classrooms, demonstration space, living space, and recreational areas. Taft is a small place, and Taft College is a small college. But the new building is going to be a large building located in the center of campus, symbolizing Taft College's commitment to educational opportunities for all students. In addition to providing operational space for the program, the new facility will also serve as a training center in which educators from other schools can come and learn and study the program and learn to work with students with intellectual and developmental disabilities. I'd like to leave you, before I introduce our students, I'd like to leave you with one last thought today. While a member of the Board of Governors, Dr. Rice said, "We want to be sure that kids who truly can succeed get the help they need. We don't want anyone to fall through the cracks." And I can't think of a better way to describe the TIL program and the mission of the California Community Colleges. Thank you very much. It's now my pleasure to introduce the first of our students who will speak to you, Krista Harless. Krista.
Good morning, everyone. I'm honored to be here today. My name is Krista Harless, and I'm 24 years old. At the age of 3, I was diagnosed with a progressive brain disease called moya moya. As a result, I have had 13 strokes and became physically and developmentally disabled. The doctors told my parents I would never walk, read, talk clearly, or write. I had 2 brain surgeries that improved my condition. Since I was unable to walk without assistance, I was given a wheelchair. I got used to not walking and actually liked it. My parents forced me out of the chair, and I began to walk on my own. As you can tell, I learned how to talk clearly and became stronger on my right side, which pretty much proved the doctors wrong in their prognosis. I have a very supportive and loving family. My grandparents have taught me what it means to be family. I have a wonderful mother, father, and sister who are always by my side, supporting me and encouraging me to be the best I can be. Because of their love, support, and faith in me, they were able to let go and let me become part of the TIL program. My first day at Taft College was very scary, yet extremely exhilarating. I was scared because I was entering the program in the middle of the semester. I didn't know anyone, and all the other TIL students had already known each other 6 whole months. I was afraid I wouldn't fit in. On January 15th, as I was unpacking, I had a swarm of TIL students at my room, eager to get to know me. The girls were in my room, and the boys were outside the door. One of the boys put his foot over the threshold of my room, and several girls got on him for entering my room because I had not passed interpersonal relationships class yet. My parents stayed the night in Taft, and I stayed alone in my new dorm room. The next morning, I told my parents to leave. I didn't call them for almost a month. I was enjoying my freedom and my new friends at Taft College. I was tested emotionally, mentally, and physically every day of the TIL program. I experienced drama, love, pain, and acceptance. I learned how to have a part-time job while attending school. I have become successful in advocating for myself. I learned how to budget my money, stick to that budget, and keep a somewhat clean and organized household. I have learned to rely on my instincts and less on my parents. I'm not saying I do not need them, but I have grown so much that I feel I can rely on myself now. Today, I am living in Sacramento in a condo that my parents bought and renovated for me. See, Mom and Dad, I still need you. The skills I've acquired from Taft College, I use each and every day now that I'm on my own. Since I have not found a job yet, I have been doing volunteer work at St. Mary's and sharing God's bounty. I am working towards my degree at American River College and plan to transfer to Sac State. I also want to travel to see and experience everything I can. On a side note, if you know of any opportunities for employment, I am still looking. I have found that I can learn from each experience, good or bad. Because of the TIL program, I have developed and gained my independence. I have transitioned into an independent woman.
I'd now like to introduce to you Noelle Baldoff.
Good morning. My name is Noelle Baldoff. I am originally from the Pasadena area. I am currently living in Bakersfield. Something went wrong with my mom, with my heart, when was pregnant. I had to have emergency C-section. I weighed 2 pounds at birth. Was a result of being born prematurely. I had a learning disability and a slow growth. But if you think my mom was easy on me, you're wrong. My mother had high hopes for me. I did regular chores at home. I was taught respect of doing the best in school, and I made sure that I listened to her and did what she told me to do, or else. When I was in high school, my teacher told me about the TIL program in Taft College. I sent in my application, and I was accepted 3 years later. That my sister was accepted at UC Davis. My first year at Till was difficult, but my brain eventually picked up the pieces together, and learning got easier. I learned how to make a budget and how to cook and clean, and how to have a busy social life. I learned how to resolve problems and made decisions. I had to solve real conflict. And with my roommates, which was not always easy. The highlight of my sophomore year was going to South Korea with 9 other students and a few staff. We went there to tell them, to tell the Korea people about Till and to Korea schools. That trip was amazing. Work ethics and how to be a good employee was taught at Till. After I graduated from Till in 2009, I realized that I had felt good about myself. The first decision I made was to move to Bakersfield. It is a more affordable place to live. I moved into an apartment with Chelsea and Danielle, who were my roommates at Till. It took a lot of applications and 5 months to get a job at the Home Depot. I really like my job, and I love getting paid. I make sure I pay my bills are paid. I take care of my apartment and keep in touch with other Till graduates on Facebook. I use public transportation, and I traveled on Amtrak to see my mom. My goals in life, living on my own and having a job and lots of friends. In the future, I want to do some traveling, save to buy a home. I plan to have a great life. Thank you.
Well, I think you can see why with a great deal of pride, all of us say, I'm glad to be working in California community colleges. This is a great program, and we certainly wish these two graduates the very best in life. Well, we have another award we're giving today, and our next recipient is Mrs. Elaine Moore from El Camino College. El Camino happens to be one of those large colleges in our system, having about 25,000 students. It's located in the city of Torrance. I've been fortunate to be on that campus on quite a number of occasions. Elaine Moore is the founder of Project Success, located at El Camino College, a program dedicated to increasing the academic performance and graduation rates of inner-city students transitioning to college. Her dedication to equity and diversity has helped El Camino College produce higher rates of African American students who transfer to CSU or UC more than any other California community college. She succeeds by promoting student-centered learning and multicultural faculty, staff, and peer mentoring. She is an accomplished faculty member, a member of the community. Her efforts on behalf of Project Success have produced academic and student support services throughout the campus and has contributed to El Camino's ranking as number 6 among the California community colleges that graduate African Americans with associate degrees. This is a great program, and I now invite Elaine Moore to come up and receive this award.
Beautiful. Thank you. Good morning. It is my pleasure to introduce the El Camino College Project Success students and administrators. Please stand as I call your names. First of all, we have Sasha Miller, a kinesiology major who plans to transfer to Cal State University Northridge. Next, we have Malcolm Mitchell, also a kinesiology major who plans to transfer to North Carolina A&T or Howard University. Nanfo Downs is an architecture major who plans to transfer to the University of Southern California. Now we have a graduate of the Project Success program, and that is Jonathan Lucas, who's a sports medicine major and a rising senior at Howard University. We also have two speakers who will be coming up, and they can come up and stand behind me, and they are Garcelle Zardis. Garcelle is a mechanical engineering major who plans to transfer to UC Berkeley. And we have Andrea Eke, another Project Success alumnae, who is a graduate of Cal State Dominguez Hills. I'd also like to introduce my Dean of Counseling and Student Services, Dr. Regina Smith. And also our Vice President of Community and Student Advancement, Dr. Jeannie Nishime. I'm truly humbled and appreciative to receive this prestigious John W. Rice Award from the Rice family. Thank you so much. My work with Project Success at El Camino began over 23 years ago as we sought to meet the critical needs of students who are failing to complete their academic studies. The impetus of the program began when counselors at El Camino were required to meet an entire week exclusively with students on academic probation and who were about to be dismissed from the college. During that 1 week, I counseled more minority students, especially African American students, than I had the entire semester. This fact so disturbed me that I called together some other concerned counselors to discuss what we could do about this situation. We reviewed the data and found that African American students were at the bottom of the retention, persistence, and graduation charts. So we decided to take action and develop a support program. Thus, Project Success was born. Working from an ethic of love, Project Success provides an extensive array of support services that include, but are not limited to, intrusive counseling, academic counseling, mentoring, tutoring, leadership skill development, and university and cultural field trips. I have recruited students into the program from high schools, foster care programs, local churches, and on campus. Many students are referred to the program from friends and relatives already in the program who are very satisfied. Project Success is guided by an outstanding steering committee made up of involved counselors, teaching faculty, administrators, and staff members. I recently started a community advisory board, which includes public officials, community leaders, business professionals, and Project Success alumni. And also on our board, we have your very own Bobby McDonald. Because we recognize the importance of parental involvement, we also have a student support component. Now, Project Success is not a first-year experience program. No. We work with students from admissions until graduation. We are cognizant of the fact that 1 year simply is not enough. While the majority of the students in the program are African American, the program also serves a diverse group of students that include Anglo, Asian, and Hispanic students. We are particularly proud of the diversity of our mentors who bring rich cultural backgrounds that enhance our community. The feeling of community and family is what we promote in Project Success because we know that this contributes greatly to retention in college. This feeling of family is promoted through faculty and staff mentoring, but also through peer mentoring in which second or third year students provide support to the first year students. The peer mentors help the students in orientation and scheduling of their classes and forming students on how to be outstanding college students. Peer mentors have been very successful in guiding and helping first year students transition to college and to the new and sometimes confusing life in college, much as an older brother or sister would do. The concept of community and family are reinforced in the orientation class that I teach, where we utilize the African concept of my brother, my sister, to foster a sense of responsibility and group support. Community service is required as part of the fall and spring orientation classes so that students can understand the importance of giving back to the community and helping others. Students in the program must also participate in fundraising activities. Money raised goes for academic scholarships, study abroad scholarships, because we encourage students to think beyond California and have other outstanding experiences, and scholarships for students to attend a Black college tour. Money raised also goes for book vouchers and for book loans. Project Success consistently maintains retention rates that exceed 85%, persistence rates that exceed 80%. Our university transfer rate is twice that of comparable students not in the program. The program has been recognized by the Academic Senate and received a Noah Levitt's Retention Excellency Award. It should be noted that El Camino stands as #1 in the state for the transfer of African Americans to the Cal State and to the UC system. Project Success, because of its high success rate and longevity, has become a model for the development of the statewide Umoja Community Program. I have the privilege of serving as one of the board members and on the executive committee as vice chair for educational partnerships. Umoja is a Swahili word for unity. It's a collaboration of programs at over 25 colleges that have similar support programs. The Umoja community began 4 years ago after a retention conference in which we identified 15 similar type of retention programs. We all came together under one umbrella, which we called Umoja. I've worked with the board traveling around the state to help start and mentor new pilot programs, and in only 4 years, the Umoja community has grown from 15 to over 25 programs at community colleges across the state. Umoja community programs report persistent rates of between 5 to 20% higher when compared to persistent rates of comparable students not in an Umoja program. My position as vice chair has allowed me the opportunity to advocate for funding on Capitol Hill in Washington, D.C., and to outreach to universities outside of California. I have traveled to several historically black colleges and universities to develop formal transfer partnerships in order to provide a larger array of transfer opportunities. I'm perplexed that there are some who feel that programs such as Project Success and other immersion programs should not continue to exist in these difficult financial times. But we know the tremendous positive impact these programs have on the lives of students. Project Success started on one campus. Similar programs now exist at over 25 colleges, but many more are anxious to start. The model is just not a statewide model. It can be replicated nationally. It is rare that a person has a career that they truly love, are passionate about, and are compensated for financially. I'm one of those people so blessed. I would like to thank all of those El Camino College administrators and staff who have supported Project Success over the past 23 years, especially my dean, Dr. Regina Smith, who nominated me for this award, and again, Dr. Gina Nishimi, our Vice President of Community and Student Advancement. I'd also especially like to recognize my husband of 29 years, Wayne Moore. Please stand. He puts up with my late evening teleconferences and working late into the night and on the weekends. He's a very patient man. Thank you, dear. As you saw earlier, we have a number of representatives from our Project Success community, and they all want to get up here and speak. However, we were told we were only limited to 2 student speakers. So I will reintroduce Garcelle Zardis, a current Project Success student, and Andrea A.K., a graduate of the program, who will briefly share their experiences in the Project Success program. Thank you.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Garcelle Zardis, as you know, a student at El Camino College and also in the Project Success program. My first year at El Camino College, I wasn't in a Project Success program. I was so lost, taking whichever classes I was able to get myself into, then failing them. I had no idea what I was doing or even what I wanted to major in. I was placed in the lowest math that the school had to offer, which is basic arithmetic, a college remedial course. By the end of my first year, I found myself struggling in these remedial classes with a 1.6 GPA. At this point, I was so fed up and discouraged that I started to consider dropping out. But then I found Project Success, or Project Success found me. Project Success made all the difference in my life as a student. Mrs. Moore first helped me decide what I wanted to major in, and then registered me in the classes I need to take. Project Success provides all the necessary resources for me to be a successful college student, such as mentoring. My mentor, Dr. Terry Spearman, helped me change the way I think about school and my future. He also taught me how to manage my time so that I can balance my classes, work, and life at home and still turn in A-quality work. Project Success awarded me with scholarships so that I can pay for books and go on a Black college tour. Project Success gives me motivation, encouragement, and inspiration. But Project Success, more importantly, Project Success is more than mentors, counselors, tutors, classmates, and friends. They're my family. Through Project Success, I was able to co-host 2 workshops at the Mosher's 5th annual conference. And right now I'm currently on the planning committee for the Mosher's 6th annual conference, which is entirely planned and run by all students. Through my participation, I've acquired a number of skills that I know will be helpful for the future. Project Success has always been there for me and helped me when I need to make hard decisions. Thanks to Project Success, I now have a 3.1 GPA, taking classes such as calculus, general physics, and general chemistry. My plans are to transfer to UC Berkeley, obtain my bachelor's degree, and then pursue my master's and doctorate degree. My career goals are to work in space exploration and with the inner city youth. Project Success has not only helped me be a better student, but also a better person. My eyes are now open to countless possibilities and opportunities in which Project Success pushes me to strive for. I no longer have to limit my imagination, goals, or dreams. Mrs. Moore showed me what's important in life, and that is devoting my life to serving others. I can't change the world, but I believe if I can make a difference in one person's life and they make a difference in another, that is the first step to changing our society, our nation, our state, and our world. I would not know any of this or be the person I am today if it had not been for Mrs. Moore and Project Success. Thank you, Mrs. Moore.
Good morning. I'm very humbled to have this opportunity to give my testimony of how deserving Elaine Moore is of this great honor and how the Project Success program opened doors of success in my life. I'm an alumni from El Camino College, Project Success, and California State University, Dominguez Hills. I'm planning to attend law school next year. I currently work full-time at El Camino College as assistant to the Dean of Counseling, Dr. Regina Smith, who was also my wonderful mentor. Everything that I have accomplished academically, professionally, and personally would not have been possible without Mrs. Moore and Project Success, which is why I'm so thankful and forever indebted to her and the program. I'm so elated that she's being recognized and commended today. Mrs. Moore recruited me at West Angeles Church of God in Christ, where Bishop Charles E. Blake is the presiding pastor. Project Success is the open door that came into my life exactly when I needed it, to show me all the opportunities that I have available to achieve my goals. At that moment, I had no idea how my life would be richly impacted. I was unsure of what I wanted to do exactly, but I knew that I wanted to be successful. I wanted to be the first to graduate from college in my family. I wanted to make a great impact for future generations. I knew that I wanted to exceed everybody's expectations of me. I am blessed and fortunate to have these gifts, but without support, they were just merely good thoughts. I had all these great seeds to plant, but lacked the foundation or the nourishment required to make them grow. This program gave me direction, clarity, vision, and the inspiration that I can dream big dreams and accomplish them with hard work and a family like Project Success to support me. Project Success is not just another support program, but it serves as a foundation for students to lay their goals on, and with Mrs. Moore, the mentors, instructors, academic courses, scholarships, university field trips, and so forth, serve as the cultivators helping nourish, develop, and grow the seeds we students plant. With tenacity, determination, ambition, and as Mrs. Moore always says, you must be highly motivated. Only then will we reap the fruits of our labor. One of the most beneficial aspects of Project Success for me is being paired with Dr. Regina Smith as my mentor. She inspires me because of her great achievements, such as attaining 6 college degrees, receiving her first degree at El Camino College. She is the epitome of virtue, grace, and success. She is educated and accomplished, but extremely humble and genuine. I met her as a young, naive teenager, and I stand before you today as a wiser, stronger, resilient, educated, motivated, persevered young woman destined for great success because of what she has instilled in me. Not only has the program helped me academically, but through my mentor, I have also gained great knowledge and insight in my personal life. I had to navigate and step through the doors of greatness and success despite the trials and tribulations that come. The positive role models like Mrs. Moore and Dr. Smith are essential for any young woman, and I'm so thankful to have them in my life. Mrs. Moore is an excellent counselor and the best that I have ever had. She is devoted and dedicated to serving students. She always made herself available to answer questions and to discuss my goals. Her drive and passion for student success is insurmountable. She has the unique gift of being able to see the potential in a person, which encourages you to tap into that potential to bring about success. She truly loves her career and is devoted to her students. I consider her to be more than an educator, but a true, sincere advocate of education. Mrs. Moore is a woman of great distinction and poise. Throughout my journey thus far, I have learned that the lack in my life does not make me less than valuable, but all the more relevant, because Project Success was the catalyst filling in those areas of need. And look at the product it produces. To Mrs. Moore and the Project Success family, I say thank you for your vision and concern, because through you have thousands of students been given opportunities that would not have been possible without your dedication and relentless support to student success. We applaud you.
Well, we've had a great program here this morning. I think all of us go away with so much inspiration. We applaud these two great programs that we have honored today at El Camino College and at Taft College. We are so proud to be a part of the California Community College system that would beget such programs. And once again, we thank Clara Rice and Condoleezza Rice for gracing us with their presence and being here to honor husband and father who has certainly left us a legacy, and we continue to be touched and moved by that legacy as we have this morning. Thank you very much for your attendance this morning. You have come out and you have shared with us and been able to share with us these wonderful programs and this program. Thank you for coming, and we will see you next year.